Mwesige, is there a leadership crisis? Because I want to believe if the flights, you can be able to notice that this number of persons missed flights because there is a manifest clearly that happens for each and every flight that goes out. That it took us this long to realize that people are either missing flights and you want to interrogate whether it is by default or there is a particular issue. Is there anyone around the airport to be able to, just like you're seated in a restaurant, you're not being served and someone is trying to find out what is happening. Where is all this at the airport? Or is it too busy that we can't do that?
No. There is no leadership crisis. And as I have told you, we have actually been doing this, disciplining people who are extorting. If you have realized, actually, this extortion had become even more sophisticated, not being done in the airport itself. Have you seen pictures? The extortions are planned, probably, in the airport and other practices, but executed elsewhere. That's why, in the new measures, we have had to remit people, even phones from people. Because if you see those pictures, some of them are in supermarkets, outside, total outside the airports, or in airport places in the corners where cameras are not seeing. But otherwise, this supervision has been there, only that for now we have heightened it because of the outcry of the members of the public. And we want to thank them sincerely and take responsibility for those acts of lack of stringency that we have been displaying in the last few days. For sure, that one is an eye-opener, and we want to take responsibility.
What's the promise of maintenance of this sort of, service delivery that we're seeing now after a few days of uproar from the public? Yet you clearly state that these are things that have been happening in the past, meaning they've recurred over a very long period of time. So what sort of promise do you give a Ugandan that after this it will be all good?
Extortion becomes a little bit sophisticated, especially with the sophistication that we have today. You can see that much of it is actually with phones, with communication that is not, you cannot easily detect. That's why these measures are put in place to make sure they match with the level of sophistication of these malpractices. And therefore, we have had to limit communication in the operational areas. That means you people who are operating in those areas, you are not going to have phones. We have left phones with supervisors. 2, we are going to emphasize tags. Every name should be properly printed on each person's uniform. 3, we have actually availed phones of supervisors to the traveling public and other aviation users to know where to go in the case of those problems. 4, we have also made it very, very difficult to stop a passenger, especially after immigration, from traveling without express permission of the director of airports and the general manager of the airport and aviation security manager. Who knows, next time even the director general will be. And my phone is also there available. In the case there is no service or inadequate service that any passenger is getting. So with those measures really, and mind you, the issue has been that there is a multiplicity of agencies that operate at the airport. The airport is a border point, as you know, like one of the border points. On border points, you must have immigration, for instance.
Yes.
You must have security. You must have ground handlers. You must have other agencies that always...
Just how much power do you as CAA have over these other agencies in terms of relationships of work?
We've largely been leaving them to do their professional work. Largely.
Now you're coming in?
Yes, because we have now come in and harmonized all the activities. Because we are the airport operator, as you know. We are the airport operator.
Yes.
Without interfering with their mandates, but making sure that we harmonize. Harmonization towards making the passengers' time in the airport easy and with less and less inconvenience. there is a certain level of inconvenience that is dictated by our SOPs, standard operating procedures. Like you must be checked thoroughly. You again, even if the machine has reached you and there is still something that needs to be checked, then you have to be checked thoroughly. That inconvenience is normal in aviation, because remember, you are going to join other passengers, and you should not.
This is where
some people don't sometimes feel inconvenienced about that. But we want to handle it still with a human face.
Here is the other thing. What message do you have for that person who missed their flight? Either probably they were first-time travelers and they didn't even know how to work around it at the end of the day. And those who've been extorted, and this is genuine, that you've even arrested the persons and culprits who were involved.
It is always regrettable in the service of the people to find those cases happening. And this one, we have made it very clear to the whole Ugandan public and other aviation users. Very, very regrettable that that could have happened. But this is the main reason why we have come together with those agencies and airlines to make sure that is very, very much eliminated, and we fashion a way forward that is free of those kind of things. And I don't know how much you know that many of us actually do not condone that kind of behavior. That's most report it as it happens. And you see, we are going to have a very, very, very different.
Here is the other thing. So many questions. Like I said, some of these are first-time travelers, some of them are frequent travelers, but probably using and transiting through different airports. Where does the mandate of the how much money I have on me, who has invited me, or aren't you just supposed to look at my documentation, see how valid they are for me to be able to go through?
You see, the service of services that are required. First of all, you must be checked for security.
True.
Okay?
True.
You must appear at the airline, check in.
On time.
You have to on time, and have different requirements, like visas. Yeah, that has to be checked. Like sometimes because of these pandemics,
Health.
health certificate, be it of COVID, be it of yellow fever vaccination, and so on and so forth. Now even Ebola, which has been there, the airline must be sure, because otherwise if they take you without those being checked, then the airline will have
to the airport for this clarification of checks. I know this and this and this is required. Public information.
Yes. Actually, travelers know all that. Who are go for labor externalization have their own unique requirements, thinking that they are doing it professionally, but taking advantage, especially of first-time travelers, those who are already in the airport, who are already intimidated by the airport environment, and they try to make it hard for them for that extortion we have been talking about. But all those who, for instance, that labor desk who have eliminated it, who have combined it with the activities of the labor desk, with those of the airline and immigration.
What rights do I have as a traveler at the airport? Because it feels like the airport staff from whichever agency have all the power over the traveler.
No. By the way, the biggest person, the most valuable person in any airport is a passenger. Yes.
That's always a rhetoric, but it seems to be totally different in action.
Not at all. That's why we have facilitation means. That's why we go out of our way. By the way, you see, except that bad apples usually are always more visible than the way as that, we wouldn't be seeing an airport there. It is those few cases that try to make our airport look like it is bad, but it is not.
Mr. Mamwesje,
we have also, by the way, had commendations. Yes.
So we never get to see the commendations.
Well, because those are not making news.
Probably you're not communicating enough for us to understand the commendations you're having.
Yes.
But here's the thing. When we talk about Entebbe International Airport, it is not just an in-house. This is an international transit point.
Right.
And meaning whatever conversation, and especially in the digital era, there is a digital footprint to the bad apple kind of stories that we are talking about. How are you dealing with this on the international scene, and how do you intend to work to redeem this international image? Because we've seen, case in point, people were saying, I take a bus, go to Kenya, and then I make a transit through Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
I'm not saying that really doing wrong should be replicated. Actually, these cases are always, even in those other airports you are hearing. But we want to focus on our own airport and make it perfect, make it easy for passengers traveling, and ensure that going forward, frankly, going forward, our airport is one of those that would make everyone proud to go through, and even when they are coming back, they should be able to be welcomed back home or visitors, our visitors, in a manner that makes a distinction and makes it possible for people to go and to come and even depart more and more again, because that's the business we are in.
Okay. Yes. How far with the investigations finally? At what point are we? How much are you going to keep the public abreast? Or when we are done with the noise, you will also keep quiet and business goes on as usual?
This is what I told you right at the beginning, that we want to get regular briefs and availability to the public to assess in an open way like this. After, say, like 3 months, we come back, say, hello, out there, how do you look at this service? And then they tell us what they have seen. If there are any new improvements that we need to make, we continue doing it in a manner that is continuous.
Okay.
Yes, so otherwise, accountability will not be a first time thing and then we go back and sleep. No, we want to make it in such a way that regularly we come, we go to the public through messages that we have in the airport, or through these channels of the media, that the public will be able to either appreciate or tell us you need to improve this area, that one and that. But I want to appeal to the public, really, to come out genuinely, with genuine reasons, those who have evidence presented them, and make sure that we improve this service.
Okay.
Yes. Both in the airport, but even those acts that are being done outside the airport. By the way, much of it, let me tell you, much of it is done outside the airport. The airport, actually, they come to execute what their plans have been. Be it smuggling, they are not done with, many of them are not done within the premises of the airport.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Fred Bamwesigye. We'll be waiting for those, continuous updates, because information is key in dealing with anything.
Yes.
All right. That's been Mr. Fred Bamwesigye, the Director General of the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, who says there is a lot more that is being instituted to ensure that the image of the Uganda International, Entebbe International Airport is actually salvaged. But also, you have rights as a traveler. Continue to speak up and make sure that we better the services that are delivered at the airport. We'll be taking a short break. When we do return, of course, the discussion about the ensuring and considering that she actually does not deserve to be in that position. The question is it?
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes, 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles.
Ani agoba nawe ono yagoba ayo tata ayinza okufaayo ali bulungi wano bakadde kiki kino mutabadde nyonyo nyo bali kuma nyo werabide ekitata sekukulu etu nojjanga loosa tekisoboka eyo tikiti ya nyonyi mama nawe no tikiti ya nyonyi nedda banafa ba Africa One Tours and Travel bategeseyo okulamaga mu nsentukuvu nimba kulya tikiti mugende mulambuleko eno yesekukulu y'omwaka guno tufudde mama tugenda kulambula mugenda kulambula yesekukulu y'omwaka guno zani
Africa One Tours and Travel has organized a senior citizens tour to the Holy Land of Egypt and Israel from the 27th of March to the 8th of April 2023. The sites to be visited include Mount Sinai, River Jordan, Mount of Olives, Wailing Walls, the Red Sea, Sea of Galilee, Bethlehem, Nazareth, Dead Sea, Mount of Temptation, the Way of the Cross, Golgotha, and Jesus' tomb. The trip is an all-inclusive return air ticket, 5-star full board accommodation, travel insurance, visa fees and meals, entrance to all sites. Send your parent, grandparent, or senior citizen of your choice by booking with Africa One Tours and Travel. Or come to our offices, second floor, Catherine House, Muyenga Tanki Road. Africa One Tours and Travel. Let the senior citizens walk in the footsteps of Jesus.
Feel like a little Waikibenda? Noaji on Tare? Then open your AfroMobile app, go to options section, select radio, find the station that best suits your current mood, click on it and enjoy life without missing a beat. Take a piece of home with you, anywhere and anytime. AfroMobile. The future is now.
Body of Mr. Namdi Wokeji was found at a beach house this morning.
When was the last time you saw Namdi?
At a party.
Did you notice anything strange about last night?
Are you taking money from my mother for this wedding?
Get it now. Get it accurate. Get it fast. Real fast. Like super fast. Super duper duper fast. No, it's not fast food or a really quick car. It's the most accurate and timely flow of news, information, updates, stories, and the stories behind the stories, and more, and a lot more. The Now Post. Get it and be the first to break the news. The Now Post. Accurate news fast.
Well, good to have you with us in this segment of the topical discussion. My name is Simon Kagwanjala, and this morning we'll attempt to explore a myriad of questions emerging in the wake of the censure of State Minister for Lands, Persis Namuganza. A group of 348 MPs yesterday voted for the censure, while 5 voted against the censure, 3 abstained on grounds of contempt of Parliament. Well, the whole story, the genesis of the story emanates from the controversy surrounding Naguru land. But that has since been put aside, and the focus is on the conduct of the legislator. Well, we take you back to how the process happened. Here is the story.
The House must pronounce itself.
Unusual to the plenary sittings, 356 members convened for the sitting that started at 10 a.m. This time round, the House was full to capacity, with MPs asking the Speaker to declare free sitting. The Select Committee then tabled its report, convicting the Minister of misconduct and misbehaviour, a matter that was scrutinised for 15 days. Chairperson to the committee, Mwene Mpaka, reported that Namuganza transgressed Parliament and its integrity.
These amounted to contempt of Parliament. In conclusion, the matter raised in the interviews was obnoxious, reckless, insufferable, beyond the pale, and in per incuriam, it was an attack on the person of the Speaker, the Parliament without due regard to the rules of procedure, the protected status, the protected redress, the applicability of evidence, and the decorum of Parliament.
Mpaka told the committee that evidence found the minister guilty of failing on her duty in breaching the prescribed behavior of legislators.
By attacking the impugned statements, The conduct of Honorable Namuganza amounted to gross misconduct and misbehavior and was an affront to the dignity of Parliament. It denigrated public trust and confidence in the and integrity of the office of the Speaker, members and the institution of Parliament, and brought the House and its members into disrepute. Her conduct was in breach of the Code of Conduct for members of Parliament.
And while he wrote the report, there was unexplained excitement among MPs in the House as the Speaker struggled to keep the legislators calm. Legislators who were given chance to comment on the report did not spare the minister whom they accused of indiscipline, having failed to appear before the committee.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. It's a painful job to do something we're going to do today.
Handing over the State Ministry of Lands to her is an insult to this country. She doesn't deserve to sit there anymore.
Shortly after, a motion was passed to vote out the minister. Of the 556 legislators present, 348 voted to throw out the minister, 5 voted against the motion, and 3 abstained.
Right Honorable Speaker, I vote yes.
Vote yes.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
MPs, including Buyende Woman MP Nakato Mary Annett, Moses Waliomu for Kagoma County, Katali Roy Woman MP Ginger District, Odria Leon of Aringa South, were among those who voted against the motion, with only 3 abstaining.
I want to vote no. A big no.
I abstain.
For purpose of record, I, Leonie Odria, vote no.
And when all this was done, Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Tedwa pronounced that the vote of censure had been passed, awaiting transmission of the same to the President in not less than 24 hours.
Having obtained the numbers required, that is more than half of the members of Parliament, as required under Article 118, Clause 1 of the Constitution, and meeting the threshold provided for under Rule 109, Sub-Rule 12 of our Rules of Procedure, Sub-Rule 13 of our Rules of Procedure, I hereby declare that the motion has been carried, that Honorable Namuganza passes, be censured, and as required under Rule 109, Sub-Rule 13 of our Rules of Procedure, I will inform the President accordingly. Those who have voted no are 5, and those who have voted yes.
Well, quite a number of questions remain unanswered. Will the President barge to the decision of Parliament, given the precedent set by former Attorney General, the late Peter Nyombi, who actually then moved that decisions of Parliament are simply advisory to the executive? That is 1. 2, did Namuganza become a victim of witch hunt, or indeed there is good substance in whatever was decided? 3, what kind of precedent is it setting for the Parliament of Uganda to involve in matters that the public actually feels are not so critical, but they are matters that are hinged on issues that perhaps beg a lot of questions? I'll be joined by Honorable Tinka Simire, Member of Parliament for Buyaga East Constituency, West Constituency, and one of the senior legislators who's been through Parliament. He's seen quite a number of censures and attempts to censure that have hit a dead end. Could this one pass under the circumstances? A very good morning, Honorable. What a pleasure having you.
Good morning, Kagwa, and how have you been? Happy New Year.
Do you join the chorus of MPs celebrating the axing of Namuganza?
I participated in the axing, but celebrating I did not, because there was no need. I was doing my normal parliamentary work.
There's quite a bit of intriguing questions, especially on numbers.
Yeah.
Is it true you were mobilized over the weekend to turn up in numbers, in big numbers?
every house is mobilized because they send out messages that the house will be on at this particular time, and sometimes the order paper is also out, so people are able to see
on Monday.
To see what the order paper is like, and they travel, they come.
Isn't it odd that Parliament sat on Monday? Traditionally,
no,
it
is not odd.
Except for very urgent business.
It is not odd. Even on Friday, we have sat special sittings, and I think when Parliament is beating deadlines, they come in. They can choose. Even the Speaker can choose to say we sit on Saturday.
Okay. Was there cause for urgency in getting Namuganza out?
According to, I think, our rules, time was going to run out, I think, yesterday. And there was need to finish off the process because it was a relatively longer process. And for all fairness, they felt, the presiding officers, they said we can follow the process up to the end. But in the process, they were caught up by time. And I think that's why you would see a house coming on Monday. And we are happy the process ended. Of course, we who have been in the house, it was okay. It was fine that anyone who would choose to disparage Parliament and the members of Parliament and
is someone raising an alarm about the process?
I beg your pardon?
Why would someone raising an alarm over the process in which she's being tried
who is raising it? Who is raising it?
Be considered as an outlaw or someone who is
raising it? Because
misconduct.
Because it starts when they read a report on the floor of the House of Naguru Estate, land allocations, and it is discovered by the committee, the select committee, that she had a hand in misallocation of the land, property of the people of Uganda.
That was the gist.
Yes.
You shifted from the gist?
Well, look. Then she moves on and goes and addresses a press conference and says Parliament is useless because he knows that it is the appointing authority who is more useful. She even forgets that when the appointing authority proposed her name, it is Parliament that appointed, that approved her name. She forgot that. But she said Parliament is very useless. Is very useless. They are uneducated. They need induction. They are trying to enter things they do not understand. But they found your hand inside there.
Yes.
In misallocation. Why don't you swallow your humble pie and become answerable?
Why would you deflect? Why would you deflect from the real gist of Naguru and focus on someone's emotions? This was an emotional outburst.
It was not. It was not an emotional outburst because when you move from there, we have code of conduct. In our rules of procedure, it is appendix F. When you look, we took an oath of allegiance to Parliament, and we have one of our codes of conduct of public duty, that we have a duty to protect Parliament, the image of Parliament, and to uphold that oath of allegiance. If you have sworn that you are going to abide by the rules of Parliament, why would you, when they produce a report against you, go to the press and disparage it?
Okay.
Go to the press and disparage the presiding officials, disparage the members of Parliament who made the report.
Okay. Is there a rule in the rules of procedure that bars a member of parliament from addressing the media?
It is not there.
Yes.
But you must be, as you address the media, you must be aware of the code of conduct. Because I have told you we have code number 2, number 5, public interest, number 11, the information that you get, the way you use it. If you are going to use the information you are picking from the house, the report of parliament, to disparage those who made it, then the rules will catch up with you.
No, this trial was never in closed circuit, in closed circles. So naturally, you would imagine that even the media would be interested in this. So she was simply sharing her sentiment on the process.
No, yes, you can.
Was the process in the first place fair?
The biggest issue is, yes, you can speak about it.
Yes.
But the issue is follow up the entire process. If you are disgruntled, for instance, in the circumstances, she should have gone to the chairperson of the committee and said, look, did you address, even when the report, I said, I came to the committee, I said ABCD, why didn't you? She gets a feel. Why they did not consider her position. Then if she's dissatisfied with the chairperson, in the chambers, in the office, now we call it office, but it's called chambers, the chambers of the chairman, of the chairperson of the select committee, if she's dissatisfied, she moves to the speaker. We have 2 speakers, one-on-one, and say, I was summoned to the committee, I complied, I raised this matter, I'm seeing a report where they are saying I'm culpable. But the facts are ABCD. ABCD advised me on how to proceed. She did not follow that process.
Yeah, but
she chose to go to the media to argue her case in the media.
Yes, because
in the process,
because the parliament,
you are in a wrong
parliament itself had frowned at the legal process, because there is already an ongoing court. There was a process in court.
How do you say
which
that?
Which parliament ignored and went ahead to prosecute.
Look, you are not going. An investigation is not going to issue against you. Then you run it to court. That you want to block court. Yeah, I mean the entire process of parliament to stop. The sub judice rule which we have in our rules of procedure state, and even the ruling, previous rulings on the floor of the house, on sub judice, says when you run to court, when the process has started against you, to stop it, then you cannot say that you cannot say that the parliament is offending the rule of sub judice. 2, did she come with an injunction stopping parliament from discussing this matter? No, because that remedy is there. She should have asked those who were representing her, please go to court, because we already have a substantive file, a substantive matter in this court. Ask for an injunction against parliament not to proceed. Not proceed. We have proceeded and finished the entire process that has taken a month plus without an injunction against parliament.
What kind of
so what are you saying that there was a court process?
What kind of precedent are you setting in selective trial? Is Namuganza the first person to make utterances that put the image of parliament into disrepute?
No.
And besides,
for
is parliament into disrepute simply because of
Namuganza, me who was in the previous parliament, she even survived in the last parliament. Maybe because the presiding officer was Efero Musoga. So, and the Right Honorable Kadaga just decided to ignore her. But ordinarily, she should have gone in the last parliament. She should have gone in the last parliament. But now she continued as business as usual. She had all the opportunities to solve this problem on the floor of the house. The leader of government business said, members are saying ABC. She was in the house. Please come here. The microphone is here. And say, I am sorry. And we end the long story. She said, to hell with this parliament. She even snubbed the leader of government business who was ordering her to come on. Actually, on that particular day, President Museveni should have dismissed her. You have a leader of government business ordering you. Because the leader of government business, when he's on the floor of the house, is not going to request you as a minister is leading. No, he's ordering you to come and make an apology. And you refuse. You refuse. That particular day, the president should have sacked Namuganza.
Do you know who Namuganza is? And where she gets the motivation to stand up?
Of course, those are the things that make her forget that other than being answerable to the president who appointed her, she's equally answerable to the people of Uganda and also Parliament. Because Parliament approved her. And now we equally have another process where we can disapprove her. Disapprove her, move a motion of censure. And a motion of censure was successfully moved. Yes.
So what happens now that she's been censured?
No, of course, now the motion has to be sent to the president within, I think, 48 or 24 hours. And when the president receives, and in any case, he saw the process, he has already known. Now he knows what to do. He may not even wait for the letter to come.
Okay.
Or the resolution to
Article 118 of the Constitution enjoins the president to take appropriate action. Now,
appropriate action is that Parliament has said
he has the latitude to decide what to do.
This person is not should not belong to the front bench. That's what Parliament has said. And that's what we are asking the president to do. And in the past, we have not seen the president go against the resolution of Parliament.
He has.
Which one?
The Pinetti deal. Huh? The Pinetti deal.
Pinetti, these are outside people. By a person who is working in the Parliament as a minister, and you keep him on the front bench. When 348 members have said, he should go, do you want to see rebellion inside that house? Do you think President Museveni is foolish? President Museveni is not foolish.
Could this be a battle?
He is a very bright man.
Pitting Parliament against the executive?
No. Because we have
some
members of the executive, even who left Entebbe to come and vote with us. So
I didn't see any minister.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't see any minister.
Bajire, is he Bajire? Bajire is the minister. I have to recollect again. This man who was in agriculture, I don't know whether he's still, but he voted with us. He voted with us. So it is not even the executive. First of all, the leader of government business had earlier on asked her to apologize. She abstinently said, I am not going to apologize.
No.
So her colleagues are just saying she has paid the price for her stubbornness.
Did you attend the NEC meeting where President Museveni advised MPs to go slow on Namuganza?
NEC meeting?
Rather, the NRM caucus meeting.
No, I did not. And maybe he was trying to say, can we first understand the process? But I believe as we went on, he came to have clear information that Namuganza was actually stubborn and needed to be disciplined.
Okay.
Because he had all the means to avert.
Did you take
Museneroshi? He came in and the signatures were never collected. Because it is at that stage where you can save anyone who is going to be censored. You stop the process of collection of signatures. If the signatures have been collected, you stop the process of the motion being moved on the floor of the house. Those two, when they are moved, for me, I will compare it with when you cut chicken and you remove the head.
Okay.
Those two, you cannot, even if the chicken moves without the head around, you cannot meet it and say this is chicken.
Well,
the head has gone.
There is a sense that this was mob justice on Namuganza. who had earlier on the floor of Parliament, and it was actually captured by the Hansard, raised issues to do with her husband and the procurement of a marriage. And so it was more of a score-settling affair.
No. You know, when she had too much to speak about the presiding officers.
There is a record on Hansard.
Yes, too much to speak. That she always even tried to subvert the whole process. But the major thing was, Arajira was rotating around the way she conducted herself. After that committee report was read, abusing, saying members of parliament are useless. This time the members of parliament showed her that they are not useless.
Questioning the constitution of the ad hoc committee.
And let me tell you, even if we would take on that area which she chose,
ad hoc committee, when there was a
which she chose,
discipline and privileges committee.
The issue of the marriage, even if we would take on that only, would take on that only.
That would be fair hearing.
Why was she concerned about that marriage?
Because there was her spouse in the picture. There was her spouse in the picture.
And that is very the spouse important. Gone to court? Had the spouse gone to court? You know, even when your spouse gets into danger, you don't run to the media. No. There is a due process.
She stood on the floor of Parliament and raised the matter.
Which matter?
That Parliament has chosen to ignore and concentrated on baying for her blood.
Yeah, of course. She was trying to subvert Parliament into useless issues. And Parliament was focused. You said we are useless. You said no one can summon you. And indeed, she do not say that she was mob just. They gave her fair hearing.
So
I have told you she had the opportunity to go to the chairperson, sort it out, to go to the presiding officers in their chambers, sort it out. On the floor of the house, when she was invited by the leader of government business to sort it out.
But look,
the motion was moved on the floor of the house.
Had issues with the ad hoc committee.
Look,
so naturally,
I would not want you to go to the media and start saying and start telling the world to sympathize with the Namoganya that she was that there was mob justice against her in Parliament. On the day they moved the motion, they asked her to present her case. She was not there.
Yes,
she was not there.
Because
even when they formed the select committee, the select committee, they asked her to come several times. They invited her even to come with her lawyers. She did not appear. She just snubbed everyone. Yesterday itself, when this motion was, the report was tabled on the floor of the house, they asked her to come and she was not there. She was. What did you want Parliament to do?
Because
to ask a person who has elected
she finds
not
the ad hoc
to defend
committee detestable. The process, won't the process have been prudent to go through the rules?
The rules, we followed them.
The disciplinary committee of Parliament.
The disciplinary committee found that it was fit for her to be censored. Do you know that they formed the select committee of Parliament?
Yes.
And found a prima facie case against her, even when she did not present her. The evidence that was on the file established a prima facie case against her. And because she was not there to say something.
Well, as we take
to say something.
As we take a break. Honorable Tinka,
she was convicted.
Honorable
Tinka, the members voted.
You're grounded in law.
Yes.
What constitutes fair hearing?
Fair hearing is allowing you to state your case
before
a duly constituted tribunal.
So what if the tribunal is questionable?
Where are you going? Do you want to form your own tribunal?
Do I have a right?
No, if the tribunal
of a committee,
if the tribunal is questionable, please, the rules are that you still go to the chambers of those who formed the committee and they say so and so, so and so, so and so is questionable for me on the tribunal.
Well, we'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll still be asking more questions surrounding the censure of Namuganza. Where is it likely to end? Could this now translate into yet another legal showdown before the Constitutional Court? Good morning.
And Martin Sankotos fills the ball, and just like that, self-destruct.
The new Star Times Uganda Premier League season is here.
Straight into the back of the net.
Fresh. Watch more live games featuring top signings and renewed rivalries.
He literally has just vindicated his coach.
Uganda's Ultimate Football League also returns to a whole new dedicated channel. Watch the Star Times Uganda Premier League on Sanyuka Prime. Brought to you by MTN, the official broadcast sponsor.
Home, spacious.
Buying a Mercedes, Toyota, or Range Rover. Let Wild Navy make your dream car a reality by importing it directly from Japan. We offer cash and Stanbic Bank direct import financing of up to 80%, meaning you can secure your dream car with only a 20% deposit. We offer free pre-shipping car service, accident-free and mileage certificates for your peace of mind. Find us at Forest Mall Ugogo, Block A, ground floor, or call 0704 105 159. World Navy. Drive luxury. Wake and bake with the crazy crew as Akeem, Maritza, and Richard switch up your mornings. Take a break and let Victoria Sibia bring a little joy to your morning with the next branch.
Dip, potato chip.
And if it's lunch you prefer,
It is what it is.
then chill out with Zahara Toto as she gives you the right spice. Keeping it spicy but on the go. Mosha got the tea, the hits, and a whole lot more. Let this rugby fanatic take you all the way till you transit with the awesome threesome. James Peterson, Martha Kay, and Ronnie McVex are the right ingredients to a perfect evening. Ride with them into the night shift for a little pillow talk. It's all there and so much more on your Big Hit station. Next Radio, Big Hits.
Well, we continue to explore the deeper story behind the censure of Honorable Persis Namuganza. Honorable Namuganza is no stranger to controversy. During the 10th Parliament, she gave the Speaker of Parliament a bit of headache. And now, she had started off with the Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Among. Could this be more of a personal battle? Scores are being settled on the floor of Parliament.
No. Maybe with the right Honorable Kadaga, for us at one point started thinking they wanted to establish in Busoga who is more powerful. But it was too early for her. A person has come from the job of an RDC, you become a member of Parliament, then you are lucky you have been made a minister. A minister, you want to somersault yourself into that status of a kingmaker in Busoga. That was too fast for her. Only that maybe she was very, very close to the president than Right Honorable Kadaga. but she really showed us.
You were able to read through the other battle. How
Yeah.
about this one?
Of course, the other thing that what was the difference, the other side, was that both of these people were Wasoga. They had an umpire somewhere. They are Chabazinga who would say, now, Jirang. So in the process, no, never Mwiginowa ringe. Iginowa. I don't know how they speak those words in Wasoga, but that should have been behind the curtains in the Chabazinga.
It was a tribal fight.
In the Chabazinga. But here, there was no such an empire behind the curtains. Who would have advised Namuganza, please, I am carrying you to the home of so and so, in private, you apologize and we ended the wrong story. Those things could have gone behind the curtains between Right Honorable Kadaga and the like. But here, we do not have that opportunity where an umpire would be there between the chairperson of the select committee, between the presiding officers, then maybe with the leader of government business, and even providing over her to say, you have been invited to the committee. Please oblige and go there and give your side of the story. Because me, who received the report on the floor of the House, I felt like, how I wish this opportunity was, she complied.
How were you persuaded to support the censure of Namuganza yourself?
No, because the persuasion is that the committee found a prima facie case. Because I have told you, a person has the option of going to the chairperson to sort out the issues. She refuses. She has the option of going to the two presiding officers. She refuses to take that option. She has the option which was given to her on the floor of the House by the government, the leader of government business. She refuses, she declines. Then she is invited on the presentation of the motion to give her side of the... She refuses to appear. Then she is invited to the committee. She snubs all the proceedings of the committee. All the proceedings of the committee. Or when the report is presented on the floor of the House, she is asked to appear and defend herself. She snubs. This is the House where she was elected to be. She snubs to be present and record her statement, to say something in her own defense. You, who is now the judge, what did you do? A person who elects not to defend herself in civil procedure, even in the cases of criminal procedure.
Honorable Tinker, you premised the censure of Namuganza on the parliamentary rules of procedure.
Yes.
You did
Rule 109.
You didn't focus on the constitutional provision that guides the censure. Article 118.
Yes.
How much cognizance did you invest in this?
No. We did because our rules stem from that constitutional provision.
But what superintends over the other?
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
Yes.
The Constitution cites grounds upon which you can.
Yes.
You can get someone censured.
Yes. You cite them. Isn't misconduct one of them?
Yes.
So what
is
are you talking about?
misconduct defined? Is misconduct defined?
It is defined by our rules. A code of conduct of members of parliament. I have told you.
What do your rules say?
He broke code number 2. Public duty. He broke code number 5. Public trust. He broke code number 11 of divulging information she was not supposed to divulge.
Which information? Which particular information was
secretive? Saying that they have found me culpable, but I am not going to oblige with what Parliament is saying. What members of Parliament found they are just useless
information.
People.
Was it restricted?
It was not restricted, but to say that what members of Parliament found out, I cannot follow it. I cannot follow it.
Which rule did you say? Which rule are you citing?
You go to our appendix F. You read Code of Conduct. A Code of Conduct. There are 12 provisions. 12 provisions of that Appendix F. You read Code number 2. It tries to oblige us to follow our oath of allegiance that we undertook. Do you know when you are sworn in as a member of parliament, we swear, we take 2 oaths. One, the oath of a member of parliament. The oath of a member of parliament, and the oath that you take to defend the Constitution. So the provisions of that oath are captured in Code number 2.
Appendix, did you say I go to Appendix?
F, yes, Appendix F. Appendix F. You read it, Code 2 and 5. Particularly when you read 5.
Public duty.
Yes.
Code number 2. By virtue of the oath of allegiance taken by all members, members have a duty to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda and to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and uphold the law and act on all occasions in accordance with the public trust placed in them.
Exactly.
So when a member of parliament comes out to raise an alarm that the issues that parliament is handling are
but
quite
you have where to raise these matters from.
Where?
On the floor of the house. I have told you she had the audience to go to the chairperson. She had the audience of going to the presiding officer.
Now,
she had the audience of making a case on the floor of the house. She had the audience of making a case to the committee. She had the case the opportunity yesterday to defend herself on the floor of the house.
2 says, members have a general duty to act in the interest of the nation as a whole.
Yes. So when you are going to think,
when an illegality is being conducted,
which
in
an
the House of
illegality?
Parliament.
Why are you? Where did you find an illegality?
Honorable Namuganza says the Constitution of
when Honorable Namuganza says this is an illegality, you call it an illegality.
She raised an issue. Why didn't you concentrate on addressing the issue of an arbitrarily formed ad hoc committee?
Who is supposed to form the committee?
It's the Speaker of Parliament.
So,
and in this
was
case,
it formed by
the Speaker of Parliament was a subject. Was a subject of investigation.
Who was the subject of investigation?
I
am asking you, who was the subject of investigation? The committee was formed by the deputy. Was the deputy a subject of investigation?
No, it was formed by the Speaker of Parliament, according to Namuganza.
But that is not what was done. It was formed by the deputy. So you are following what she said. The way she wants to fool and disparage the parliament. You think we followed an illegality? No. The committee was formed by the deputy.
Well, now
she should have known where her powers belong and where the powers of the presiding officers belong.
Well, you've now wielded an axe on Namuganza, but there was a precedent in during the tenure of Peter Nyombi as Attorney General, when he moved that decisions of Parliament are simply advisory to government. During the oil controversy.
That matter...
doesn't this hold in this case?
That matter was settled in the Constitutional Court. I mean in the Supreme Court. In our case, the case of Theodore Sechikuba and 4 others, where he was one of them, it was settled. You cannot, you cannot start saying what would be the role of Parliament if you are going to just say the resolutions of Parliament are just advisory, because all our matters are conducted through resolutions. Even the budget, when we are appropriating, do you know that they bring an appropriation act?
Okay.
We resolve on the floor of the House that an appropriation, the report which has been tabled, be adopted by the House. That is the resolution.
Again,
we resolve that this be passed into an act. And it is foreign. It is
again,
foreign.
the Constitution gives the president the latitude to either act as he wishes.
Let's wait. He can do what he wants. But for us, we have done our part.
What are the chances that Namuganza will be
I am not the president. The president, if you want, go to Entebbe and ask the president, what are you going to do? Since your minister has been censored.
You've picked the sentiment of the president.
Where have I?
No.
I don't want to impute anything about him. What I know is that he's very bright. He cannot see 348 MPs, more than half of parliament, voting against his minister, and he wants to fight parliament. That is not President Museveni. You wait and see.
Could this turn out to be an exercise in futility? I mean, given the sentiments that
it will not be a futility, because
she remains a legislator and she will be coming to parliament.
Of course, that's what we want. She's not being chased from the house. We want to see how Namuganza will perform as a backbencher like Tika Simiri. I am glad she went back to school. She has a diploma in law. Maybe she may have more time to herself and say, I can further up this career and become a lawyer. Become a lawyer. I would want to see a backbencher in Namuganza representing her constituents.
You're happy she's sacked? She's censured?
No, I mean she had the option of defending herself.
Are you happy that Namuganza has been censured?
It is a painful act. I said when I was submitting yesterday on the floor of the House, I said it's with pain that we have to move this indictment against our own. Because she has been given all opportunities, she has refused all the options. And in the circumstances, Honorable Fox-Odo is the one who said, when somebody says, I want to die, and is volunteering, like in the circumstances, we cannot defend her. Our role yesterday was not to defend Namuganza. In the circumstances that the committee report was adopted on the floor of the House. When it is adopted on the floor of the House, for us as members of Parliament, what we are supposed to do is to comply, to follow what has been adopted on the floor of the House.
Do you see a possibility of a legal shutdown as Namuganza runs to court?
I would want to see that jurisprudence being added on what we have to follow in the law. I would want to see it.
There are a lot of questions for interpretation.
No.
Especially in regard to misconduct. What constitutes misconduct?
That
is someone
that
raising a grievance a sign of misconduct?
Misconduct is defined by dictionaries. If the rules of Parliament say when you get information, there is a way you are supposed to use it, and you choose to use it the way she used it. You choose to say members of Parliament, they are not inducted, they should be taken for induction.
So Parliament deems it offensive for a member of Parliament.
That's an insult.
To complain about the way business is being conducted in the media.
You can complain. You can complain to the chairperson. We have the rules that we follow. Provided that if you have an issue in the committee,
banned from speaking to the media about parliamentary business.
Yeah, you can. You are not bad. You are not bad, but you have a limit according to the code. And in the circumstances, if somebody complains that you have broken our code when you went to the media, then they will get you. But if you are lucky and you escape, then you will survive.
Okay, you have a legal backing for what you did. How about the question of legitimacy? The legitimacy of censuring an MP?
Of censuring a minister?
Yes, a minister on sentimental grounds.
These
are sentiments.
Why are you insisting that they are sentiments? Which sentiments? The grounds were clear of the motion. Or we supply you with a copy.
I follow.
I know you are choosing not to read the grounds. You are only choosing.
I've watched the drama deliberately.
The Kagwanjala that I know has chosen, has taken the path to choose not to read the grounds of the motion and only present to the media that it was sentimental. What was done to Namuganza, Honorable Namuganza, should have been done a long time ago. We who were with her in the tennis parliament, oh, she's just survived. I have told you. Because there was an umpire, tuja kubisotinge wafeyo. Apologize here. She should have gone even the last time.
Well, Honorable Tinka Simile, thank you for joining us this morning. You're part of history, right? And history will judge you for
Of course, now at least we have successfully censored a minister of President Museveni, our parliament. And it is telling those who are on the line.
How did you fail to censure Kasaija? There was an attempt to censure
Kasaija, why would you censor him? What did he do?
Over the 10 billion saga. You remember the 10 billion saga?
The 10 billion
that involved Betty Kamya.
The 10 billion, of course, Betty Kamya should have carried the cross herself. And I think that's why she's not a minister, she's IGG.
You failed on Muhwezi, you failed on Kasaija, you've succeeded on Namuganza. So the small fish phenomena comes in.
The Honorable Kasaija that I know, he's not a thief. He's not a thief. If you want to find him culpable for anything, that would call it witch hunt. Would call it witch hunt.
For Kasaija, it is witch hunt.
No, it is.
For Namuganza,
it would be.
It is justified.
She abused the parliament. She abused us. She's paying the price.
You attempted to censure the late Mutebiri and failed.
How would you censor
to cause the sacking of the governor? You failed. You tried on Muhwezi, you failed.
There is Muhwezi could have had his why it was suited. It is not the first time to censor Muhwezi. Muhwezi, that would be the second time. Of course, we need to put in our laws, that when somebody has been censored for any cause, successfully been censored, the executive or the president shall not appoint that person again as a minister. And if he does, Parliament shall decline to approve. We need to put it in our laws, such that such people who are censored should never have been
what
even
will
considered.
Happen when President Museveni retains Namuganza as minister and she turns
I
up
am
in
not President Museveni. It is up to him. It is up to him. He can even choose. And
I want you to imagine a scenario.
For us, we have moved our verdict that we have censored you. Go in the key. Where is he going to appear? If your business is done in the house, who will approve the budget for Namuganza to sit in the Ministry of Lands? Isn't it Parliament?
Are you sure you want?
Please, don't incite us. We have a way of making sure that the president follows the law. And he took an oath of allegiance. Do you know that the president is under oath?
Yes.
So you want him to act out of his oath?
Yeah, but he is enjoying to take appropriate action. And
yes,
appropriate action...
Much obliged.
Appropriate action is not defined.
Appropriate action that has been shaped
seeking an apology.
Is that this lady, his minister, whom he successfully transmitted to the motion, by the way, the motion was queried to Namuganza, Honorable Namuganza, by the president. Are you aware? If the president was able to carry this motion that you are being censored and has been following the proceedings and has been successfully censored, you think he's going to keep quiet?
So the battle lines are now drawn between the executive and the legislature.
There is no battle lines. No battle lines. This one is going to go out. We continue business as usual. There are no battle lines.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Tinka. And that's all we had for this morning. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.